The landscape of life has changed a lot for many of us this past year. When his family's California business was forced to close during COVID, Chris Phillips came back home to Texas.
It's just a different world out here, which made it easier to just do an all-new business from scratch.
He and his wife dug right in and started Phillips Skid Steering in Leander.
We pretty much focus on gravel driveways and dirt work.
Building a rock-solid foundation during a pandemic would seem tough, but Chris says the suburbs of Austin proved to be the perfect place for a fresh start.
It's always, right off the bat, with everyone we've met, wants to connect us with the next connection point so that we'll succeed.
As a whole, our business community has done really, really well, as the numbers show.
Leander Chamber of Commerce President Bridget Brandt has seen this fastest growing suburb in the country flourish.
It is the very best result of a stay local, shop at home campaign, because that's what's happened.
Growth explains a lot. Last year was a record year for Austin. 154 companies announced plans to either relocate or expand here.
We are a hot spot. And by the way, I think that's one of the reasons why this region is usually the last in and the first out of an economic downturn. And that is once again proving to be true with the pandemic.
Laura Huffman, president of the Austin Chamber of Commerce, says despite a year-over-year decline in jobs, Austin is the second best performing among the 50 largest metro areas, beating out San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. And Austin has now regained 86% of last spring's pandemic-related job losses. Sales tax revenue data from May 2019 to 2021 shows across Central Texas, every city lost businesses in 2020. Since then, they've bounced back, regaining even more than they lost. There are some areas where businesses are still suffering. For example, Austin has yet to regain all of the restaurants it lost. But the suburbs saw restaurants opening up or relocating there.
We opened up 8 days before everything got shut down, and obviously everything with COVID, it unfortunately just went.
Texas Taco Kitchen in Liberty Hill opened March 11th, 2020. The Scratch Kitchen Eatery added curbside pickup and family meals to help keep the business going. It worked. Those family meals now make up 40% of their sales.
My personal experience through the pandemic, people really jumped on board with local business, right? And they really wanted to see local business succeed.
We're seeing that across the state. The KVUE defenders have been looking at sales tax revenue data for the last year. There's about a 2-month lag in tax collections. But the latest figures from the Texas Comptroller show the state collected nearly 22% more this May than last. And Austin and the 9 surrounding cities are all doing better. The biggest gains are in online shopping and the food industry. Combined, these 10 cities gained 1,422 online businesses and 226 more restaurants in the last year.
If you look at the data, you can see that sales tax is coming back throughout the state. If you look specifically at the last couple of months, you see that sales tax is really on the upswing. And that's an indication that businesses are starting to boom because people are getting out more.
Signs that Central Texas businesses are working their way back to the booming status that has long made this area attractive. You can see which communities gained the most business in the last 2 years in this story at KVUE.com/boomtown. For the KVUE Defenders, I'm Terry Gruca.